The Grand National Quail Club had the first hunt in 1967. Governor Henry Bellman at the time, along with Dr. E. Evans Chambers from Enid, Oklahoma, and Wendell Beaver, who was the director of the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation, had participated in the one-shot antelope hunt in Lander, Wyoming. And at the end of that function, Governor Bellman at the time said, well, you know, we've got more quail in Oklahoma than they have antelope in Wyoming. We ought to look at putting on a celebrity hunt in Oklahoma.
Hello and welcome to Outdoor Oklahoma. I'm Todd Craighead. The sights and sounds that you've been enjoying thus far of the Grand National Quail Hunt held in Enid, Oklahoma each year. The hunt has a rich tradition that spans over 40 years, and it's attracted lots of celebrities from Hollywood as well as pro athletes from around the country. And today we're going to be enjoying the memories of those Grand National Quail Hunts through a very special Oklahoman. But first, today I'm joined by Gina Donnell, and we're out at the Sandy Sanders Wildlife Management Area in southwest Oklahoma. Gina, you're one of our wildlife biologists concerned with quail, so tell me what we're doing.
Well, we are trapping quail and taking biological samples for part of Operation Idiopathic Decline.
Okay, now that's a mouthful,
It
so
is.
why don't we stop right there and explain what that means.
Well, we are obviously concerned with the quail decline, and there's a lot of theories about what's going on. So Operation Idiopathic Decline was started by the Rolling Plains Quail Research Ranch in Texas, and they want to see if disease has any impact on the population. The term idiopathic means the doctor doesn't know, so we're just kind of testing everything that we can. To see if it has any impact.
Well, great. And you actually trapped a quail.
We trapped a bird last night, and we'll be taking samples in our traveling lab here in just a few minutes.
Okay, well, we'll join Gina on that. But before we do that, many of you will remember Don Wallace, who's quite an icon in the outdoor industry, and we're awfully proud that he's also an Oklahoman. Well, Don went to the Grand National Quail Hunt many times over the years and filmed the hunt itself. So we're going to join John now and enjoy listening to his memories of the Grand National Quail Hunt.
I finally found the opportunity in 1971 to go full-time and in prime time when Dr. Marcus Welby, MD, the #1 show in the country, did not program against the second half. NBC did not program against the second half of Dr. Marcus Welby, MD, which was on ABC. And so they finally decided to let me have that slot, and I told them I could be #1. You know, I could beat Marcus Welby, MD, but I didn't. But I came in a strong second in the marketplace, so that was good enough for them. So the Wallace Wildlife Show was born sort of big time then, and then from then on I syndicated. I would film, edit, produce, sell, host, syndicate, bill, collect, did all those things. And this went on for quite some time. But there was a factor out of the Enid, Oklahoma market that helped me do these things and produce my show. And it was called the Grand National Quail Hunt. A group of Enid businessmen put together the Grand National Quail Hunt. And they contacted me and sort of put a little pressure on me to come up there and film the Grand National, or parts of it. And I reluctantly did so, but when I started it, I couldn't quit. I did films with many celebrities, politicians, and sports figures, Hollywood figures, TV figures. And it was quite a big thing to be up there and have the opportunity to film with these people. So I did help my show a great deal by filming hunting at the Grand National Quail Hunt. The festivities at the Grand National Quail Hunt would start on about a Wednesday or a Thursday night and go on for the rest of the week. There were a lot of sightseers that came into Enid during those days, and especially female sightseers. They would come from all over the state just to get a glimpse or to visit with Lee Majors or whomever. There were ranchers all over northwestern Oklahoma who participated in this project, furnishing their land for the actual quail hunts. And then they had dog handlers and people who had dogs and who were proud of their dogs and brought them in, and it was quite a big thing. And the wives generally would have a nice hot lunch at the farmhouse or the ranch house for the guests who were participating, and the dog handlers, and even me. There were people from all walks of life who were invited to this Grand National Quail Hunt. I met CEOs of all kinds of businesses, and then TV stars, movie stars, well-known sports figures, astronauts, singers, musicians, politicians, governors, senators, representatives. Some of the people I met, Roy Clark, he made the hunt every year probably for 10 years. Roy Clark was well known and well liked. And I actually hunted with him at one point. Tennessee Ernie Ford was another interesting person. Tennessee Ernie Ford his wife had a cousin there in Enid, so they were always glad to come and be a part. The latest Tarzan, whose name I can't recall at this moment, Dan Haggerty was Grizzly Adams. He was there. I made a show with him one time. Max Bayer of the Beverly Hillbillies. Of course, Lee Majors was there every year. But while he was there, he and Larry Zonka were good friends. Larry Zonka, the football player from the Miami Dolphins. And I made shows with he and Larry Zonka. And you always knew when you saw a helicopter coming into one of the ranches, why it was going to be Lee Majors or one of his girlfriends, Farah Faucet, who later became his wife. And he always arrived by helicopter. Not always, but a lot of the time. I remember one time I saw at the end of a goose hunt, that was one of the off days. You know, hunting is on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. But on one of the off days for quail hunting, there was goose hunting, and he had gone out and harvested a couple of geese, and he brought them back to the check-in place at Jet, Oklahoma, at the little Jet community building, and a lot of the Jet citizens were out there with their little old box cameras, and they were taking pictures of everything. And Farah Fawcett was there at the time, and he walked up with his geese and handed them to Farah Fawcett to hold while they took pictures, and she grimaced, handed them back to Lee Majors.
Well, we'll rejoin Don Wallace a little bit later, but first, I'm going to let Gina get to work on this quail she caught.
Right, so we caught a quail last night, so I'll just go ahead and take her, and we'll go into the lab and start working her up.
Okay. Well, we're now inside Gina's roving laboratory. Now I know why you closed the door in case one of these gets away.
In case she escapes.
Well, when you're ready for it, then I'm ready too.
All right, well, let's go ahead and put her on here, and we can get a weight measurement.
An offshoot organization of the Grand National Quail Hunt is actually that Grand National Quail Foundation. And funding through that foundation has provided money for all kinds of research at the Wildlife Department, just like what Gina's doing. We're now going to learn more about the foundation and its efforts from John Grondike.
We decided, we needed a 501c3 tax-free entity to support educational issues and wildlife research issues, mainly focused at quail. But like anything else, when you go out there and work on habitat and try to create habitat, you help a lot of other animals, be it pheasant, lesser prairie chicken in western Oklahoma, or other areas like that. The Quail Club, before the foundation was started, had developed a good relationship with a number of conservation or wildlife organizations, the Wildlife Department of Oklahoma, the Noble Foundation at the time, Quail Unlimited, and Oklahoma State University. And probably one of their larger endeavors was we had a very extensive quail research project at the Pack Saddle Wildlife Management Area, had a radio telemetry study to determine the effects of quail feeders and water and other habitat manipulations, that whether it really helped, and how far quail moved and relocated in what the fall shuffle or whatnot. So we were very involved in that, in providing, helping to provide equipment and four-wheelers and radio telemetry equipment to check those quail. And so that was been a very, and I think some of that research was very credible and is still very credible today, and has been used by people all over the United States. And I think the nice thing about it is the Grand National Quail Club and the foundation today has worked with a lot of groups. All of those came together, and all with the interest of helping support quail research and quail numbers in Oklahoma.
So we're peeling the feathers back, and that right there is the jugular. So that's what we're going to be taking our sample from. And so you just go ahead and draw a blood sample.
Last time I went to the doctor, it took about an hour to do just that.
Well,
so.
sometimes it's easier, and sometimes we struggle with it just a little bit. So we put a drop in each of these 4 circles, and then when they get back to the lab, they will be able to take all the samples they need from those 4 drops. And then we also put a drop on the slide.
Now, where's this stuff get sent to?
This, all of our samples get sent to the Central Receiving Lab in Texas Tech in Lubbock, and so they will take inventory of what we send them, how much we send them, and then they will split it up between, I believe there are 8 separate researchers, so it's a very large-scale project. There's several Texas universities that will be taking the samples and analyzing them. So it's a huge project, and so we're just one small part of it. Just trapping and sampling the quail is just a small part of the project.
I know in talking with hunters and concerned sportsmen that it would be easy to find a scapegoat to blame.
Exactly.
Like predators
or disease or habitat, or.
But it's just not that simple, is
it? It's not. There's a lot of things that affect quail. They're on the bottom of the food chain. They're a small bird, they're short-lived, so there's just a lot of things coming together and kind of making that perfect storm. But you know, we hope that if we have enough habitat available, that whenever they come up out of the slump like they have done historically, that we'll have places for the birds to live.
That's great.
So, all right, well that is everything for this bird. So let's go release her at the trap site we caught her in last night, and then we'll run traps again and see if we caught any more birds.
Good deal.
Just open up our strings here. Try to figure out which, there's her head.
Can you take the bag when you're done?
I will, whenever. Okay. All right, so
she's ready.
Turn her back out. And 1, 2, 3.
All right. Well, we'll be back with more with Don Wallace in the Grand National Quail Hunt right after this week's Outdoor News Report.
You know, this hunt is one of the premier quail hunts of northwestern Oklahoma, and it really shows the hospitality and the hometown feel that we get in northwestern Oklahoma. This hunt is started on basically just the desire to get people together and showcase northwest Oklahoma. And today, here we are, 45 years old. We are doing things to prolong the longevity of this hunt, and hopefully it will last many, many more years.
It's just always a lot of fun to be here. A lot of wonderful camaraderie with the people that are here year after year.
Oh, we had a great day yesterday. We were able to get some birds. It's been a dry year, but we were fortunate enough. We had great dog work and a good dog handler, and Roy Williams and we got our limits yesterday, so we had a good time.
You know, we had a really good hunt. Not the birds that we used to see in Oklahoma, but that's one of the good things about this organization. They're working to try to figure out what that problem is.
So I was real happy I was going to get to hunt with Johnny Bench and be a shooter at that time. Well, I didn't get to shoot very much. Johnny Bench literally walked me to death. Used to playing baseball, I guess, and those big long legs. And he always brought his dad with him to the Grand National Quail Hunts just to enjoy the festivities. But Johnny, he wouldn't wait on me. The dogs would go on point, bam, he'd be up there, bam, 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 before I could even get up there. But it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. Well, let me talk about Dub Taylor for a second. He was quite a character. Dub Taylor is the famous guy who made the commercial for picante sauce, and he said, what was it he said? He said, New York City.
This cream cheese dip will win first prize with my secret ingredient. Paste picante sauce ain't no secret. I use paste in my queso dip. Just add paste to Velveeta cheese spread and microwave. Shoot, paste picante sauce will liven up any dip. I got a secret ingredient. That stuff made in New York City. New York City!
Pick up your party dips. Pick up the pace.
That's one secret you ought to keep the lid on.
New York City, that was one of his most famous trademarks, but he'd been in movies for years and years. Dub always used a 28 gauge shotgun. You don't hear about 28 gauge shotguns very often. He graduated from Classen High in Oklahoma City. He was quite an interesting guy.
But right now I'm here at the Grand National Quail Hunt, and I'll tell you what, it brings back memories that I'll never forget them. And let me cite one of them. I spent 4 hours in a duck blind with Colonel Robinson Reisner in 1973 after he just got released from a prison camp in Hanoi, and he'd been there for 8 years, and I'll never forget the rest of my life. What a great memory to have. And I have so many others. Of course, I came here with my dad a lot, and that was a memory in itself if you knew my dad, Dub Taylor. But I'm just so pleased to be here, and I can't tell you how much I love to hunt, especially upland game. And I think that's important that we cultivate our quail and try to keep them from being extinct. And there's ways to do it. I know the fire ants down in Texas have played their toll on them, and the weather. But I love game. I love to look at it, maybe more than I love to shoot it sometimes, because I like to see game around, and we can do that. And Oklahoma Wildlife, you know, plays a great role in keeping on our game, and it's very important that we preserve them. As hunters, sure, we like to hunt, but a lot of people don't realize we want to preserve them. The Grand National Quail Club started out to do was to showcase Oklahoma, to show the opportunities we had here, the energetic, hard-working people that make things work in this world, and Oklahoma still has those attributes and traits, and I think that we have been very fortunate to bring people in from industry, from companies we already had in Oklahoma, but companies that are not familiar with Oklahoma. So I think it's kind of opened their eyes to some of the opportunities we have here, and it's been a good result.
The Grand National Quail Hunt's been going on now for 44 years. And I say congratulations to them, and God bless.
Well, Gina, we got one quail today, but the day is still young. You've got tonight and a couple more days, right?
Yes, at Sandy Sanders, and then after we finish here, we'll be heading up to Cooper WMA to do the exact same thing for 2 days. So.
Well, I know that I'm going to be excited about finding out what you find out through all
Yes.
this research, as well as everyone else. If you'd like to keep updated about what's going on with Operation Idiopathic Decline, then we'd encourage you to sign up for our Upland Update. You can do that through our website. Go to the hunting page and then quail and then sign up for the newsletter.
Yes.
Good deal. Well, we want to thank Don Wallace as well for sharing the great memories of the Grand National Quail Hunt. And our hats are off to the organizers that continue to carry on the tradition. We hope that they have another 40 years of success. For all of us at your wildlife department, we hope that you join us right here next time on Outdoor Oklahoma.